quickly talk us through this James Olsen guitar. This is your number 2 stage guitar, is that right, or your number 1 stage guitar?
This is it's called number 2.
Yeah.
It's the second one he built for me.
Yeah.
The first one was in a hotel room in Minneapolis when I showed up to do a benefits. He had gotten the guitar into my room, and it was lying on the bed, and I picked it up and played it, and knew I had had found a great new guitar. It's slightly wider here than normal, than a normal 6-string would be. So it's that fits my hand better. This cedar top, rosewood. It rings. It's a very bright sound, but it's balanced across the guitar. You know, it's got a good, and you can. Get a good bass note out of it. I tend to play it, the action is low. The action is low, and I like it low, just on the clean side of buzzy, you know.
Use thumb and 2 fingers, as you mentioned, and you kind of use a bit of nail and a bit of flesh. Is that right? Or is it all nail?
The nail is mostly just to stop it, to mute things. So it's the nail that, you know, yeah, it's definitely the nail that makes the sound. And again, they're these bionic nails. I build they would never last for a week on the road if it were my own nails. So I've been doing this for 40 years, I think, anyway.
Okay. Interesting. I've said this to you before. When you play your chord changes, because you're playing bass notes usually before the internal of the chord and any licks on the top, your fingers tend to creep across the neck and around the neck because you're leading with the first finger of the next chord. Can you play us a few changes to just do it naturally, and what you do will happen? So.
It is. They're independent. They're sort of lines that are happening all around each other rather than all at once. It's very different from a strumming technique. That's a very typical James Taylor chord and also a +2 chord, or a 9th but low down. Another thing that opened things up for me was this. Sort of a faux Latin thing. I very seldom capo any higher than the 3rd fret. It's so that playing in E, in D, and in A, I can go up to playing in F, in G, or in C. You know, it allows me. I very seldom play in open C. It's just an interesting chord on the guitar to me. I much prefer these. I much prefer the D, A, and E fingering, and it just pulls it into a different range for the voice so that you can do a different thing melodically with it. You know, I'm a baritone, which is not great. I think the best thing to be is a tenor, you know, like Jimmy Nails or Sting, Graham Nash, Ricky Skaggs. You know, have that really high range, because then you're playing the guitar and you've got this huge thing up above it, so it feels like a much wider range of available you know, stuff available to you. I wish I had a higher range than I do. So,
but perhaps you compensate by making the guitar the higher thing, so you're using the capo to get those higher notes on the guitar.
I'm constantly working on finding a way to make the guitar lower. Basically, I do play bass with my thumb. My bass player, Jimmy Johnson and Lee Sklar, would both tell you that the challenge is working with someone who's already playing bass. I actually wish my guitar did have bass notes in it. I've been trying to come up with a sort of what do you call them, vari guitar, or like that Line 6 guitar, or the Roland guitar synth. You can get them so that they'll drop these strings down an octave. The problem is that you only want one string at a time to be down the octave, because you don't want chords in those lower registers. It's too muddy. So I'm trying to figure out a way to switch that machine automatically to just play whatever my lowest note on the lower three strings are. And someday I'll do it too. I'm close now.
Because that's a lovely